Ambassador Osman, thank you so much for giving us your time. So this year's G20 summit, this will be the African Union's debut as a permanent member. What fresh perspectives will the AU want to bring to the G20?
The membership of the AU represents not only the African Union or the African continent, but it could be seen as a representation for the global South, because the majority of the global South are in Africa. The G20 in itself is a very important body, especially in the recent times. Not when it started. When it started, it's just sort of a political talk shop. But now it has a role to play due to the complications in the global arena, especially in politics, especially in economic sphere. So they have a role to play. So our membership as in the G20 is very important for us, because the G20 is a forum now decides on a lot of issues of which are of concern to us, especially the financial architecture, the global financial architecture, which is very important issue for us.
The inclusion of the AU in the G20, definitely a long time coming, and I think this is a very clear reflection of the continent's potential, but also its current pertinence in the global economy, right? So can you give us some more examples of the Global South agenda that the AU will want to push on this stage, and also, how will it seek to balance the global power dynamics to achieve that equity the world touts so much?
I think before talking about the global South per se, let us talk about the concerns of the African Union or the African continent, because if it is solved or if it is dealt with, it also affect the global South. In the continent, we have, our economy is very poor, especially after the COVID-19, which really showed how we are vulnerable to many issues. And this is why we would like to raise our own African issues first of all. For instance, the debt issue is a very serious problem for us, because we need a lot of investment in the continent, and this issue of the debt always stands in our way and affect the flow of investment in the continent.
The G20's theme this year is about that, building a just world and also a sustainable planet. I think this is very aptly themed for Africa in particular, which suffers disproportionately from climate change issues, despite really only contributing a fraction to global emissions. So how then will the AU, now that it's included in the G20, want to push for this just and sustainable development?
That is part of our goal when we join the G20. As you rightly said, it is estimated as the contribution of Africa in this global change. It is 4%, but the effect is more than that. Africa is more affected by the global change in the how do you call it, climate change. In the climate change, through, if you see the floods in Africa, this is an effect of and even the poor economic results is also affected. It's a part of the effects of so we are paying a lot at a time when we are not contributing to this climate change. This is a rather unfair way of dealing with Africa. So this is why Africa has a plan, and we have the Nairobi plan for the mitigating the impact of the climate change. And now in Baku we have a very solid position, and we are expressing also the position of the global South with regard to the commitments which were announced in Paris and in other COP forums were not honored by the countries who contributed to this climate change.